guys, welcome back to the Cantina. This is Stephanie, your friendly neighborhood barkeep, bar manager, Wookiee Wrangler, scoundrel coordinator, chaos coordinator, you know, basically the woman behind everything. Anyway, I read Colin Trevorrow's script. Now look, guys, I know you all think the sun rises and sets out of it, but I want you to sit back and I want you to think about it. And anybody who's read it, really think, is this a good Star Wars script? The answer is no. When I hear someone who's supposed to be a professional writer in Hollywood, professional script, writes scripts, does all that, I do, basically does the same job that John Milius in his prime did, George Lucas, etc., etc. Mario Puzo, by the way, yeah, he actually wrote the script for Superman 2. Got you on that one, didn't I? The guy who wrote The Godfather? Francis Ford Coppola, la-di-da. These guys have the same job. I could give the problem of how do you solve the issue of TLJ in a third movie to any one of these guys, and they could fix it. We have a generation of scriptwriters who sit there and look at it and go, I can't figure out how to get out of the cul-de-sac. He left us nothing. Did he? People are forgetting things. First off, everything that happens in The Last Jedi happens about a day, 2 days after Han was killed. Why do we need to completely gut the story, gut the entire saga? Because you guys don't know what to do? The average fan out there who writes fan fiction could figure that out. So my biggest complaint, and I really did think it was lousy. I mean, I just, I thought Poe and Rey being a thing was contrived. Again, a nobody taking the Skywalker name is just fucking bullshit. Utter fucking bullshit. And it just goes to the laziness of the writing. It goes to the laziness of the person who wrote it. George Lucas asked a question. What happened to Darth Vader's, plural, grandchildren, plural? All right, plural. How would you fix this? How could you fix this? Well, first off, Ratface is lying to her. He knows perfectly well who she is. Because in the novel, The Force Awakens, in, I think it was a Lego game, Kyle Ren goes to her, it is you. When the Skywalker lightsaber goes to Rey. Here's a question for Colin Trevorrow and his defenders. How the fuck are we supposed to sit back and go, as Star Wars fans who know the lore, know the canon, how the hell are we supposed to sit back and go, oh, ain't nobody got the Skywalker lightsaber? It goes to the obviousness that Colin Trevorrow doesn't know how George Lucas created Star Wars. It's not just the hero's journey. He borrowed and accentuated things that were already out there in the mythology, and all of human culture. One of them being Excalibur. Now, if Star Wars is supposed to be about Anakin Skywalker and his family, it would just go to logic that Rey would be a grandchild. He would be somebody's offspring, either Luke or Leia's. I don't think it goes as far as giving Luke a son, a wife. TLJ pretty much showed that there was no connection between Rey and him in that way. He came off as crazy Uncle Luke. What I would have done, because she only spent 3.5 hours with Leia, when's Leia going to sit down and tell her? You miss an entire story here because you're too lazy and too scared to do what George Lucas gladly would have done, and I think probably did do in him and JJ's version before it got shit on by the suits and Kennedy through the suits. Okay. So we have Kyle Ron lying to her. Her wondering why she has a connection to him, why she was dreaming, had visions of this guy for so long. It's there in TFA. It's there everywhere. They're supposed to be related. How do you do that? I'll tell you. Lied to her. Ray meets up with Lando. Lando looks at her and is like, you remind me of somebody. I mean, if you look at Daisy Ridley and look at Harrison Ford, she's got his coloring. The same colored hair, same color eyes. You remind me of somebody. And he hands her this tablet. The tablet contains something that Han had recorded and left. It's a recorded journal. This is actually something that was really neat from the novel Tatooine Ghost. Shmi recorded every day a journal for Anakin. Should he ever come back, he would have this as a memory of her. Leia ends up with it, and it's a very her journey to real grasping who her family is, who her father was, and realizing that no one is born evil. Even though I kind of disagree with that, you know that Anakin wasn't. You know, Anakin was not always that way. He wasn't always destined to be a monster. And it's a beautiful thing when Leia is listening to Shmi go on, her grandmother, for crying out loud. And it stops and Han goes, well, I want to hear more. Okay. So Lando gives this thing to Rey and says, I want Leia to have it. And he looks at her again and goes, you remind me of somebody. So Rey looks at the journal and goes into the cockpit, turns it on. Lando comes in an hour later. Rey's sitting there curled up with her legs up against her chest, hugging her legs with tears in her eyes, saying, who was Kira? There's your first indication. Okay. There were rumors of carbonite in Rey's backstory. That a little girl had been kidnapped. And this is part of the story. This is part of one of the novels leading up to this, to the TFA dumpster fire. That is TFA. That children of high-ranking Alliance officials were being kidnapped. Just stands to reason. Maybe Han and Leia's daughter would have been kidnapped. And if that's the case, then you have everything you need. Okay, it's there in your hands. And instead we get Rey Nobody because Colin Trevorrow can't get out of it. And it defeats everything Star Wars is about. Because Star Wars, I'm sorry to tell all of you, even those of you who are desperately clinging to something positive, you know, let's put it this way. The people that made The Mandalorian love Star Wars. People that did the sequel trilogy hate it, or are not kind of into it. They're fans, but they're not. They don't know what it's about. JJ didn't know what it was about. Fucking after what Rian Johnson's saying, he really didn't give a shit about canon and what Star Wars meant. He didn't care. Trevorrow, you know, just because you're a fan doesn't mean you know what you're talking about and know what you're doing. And the script proves it. They go to Mortis, or Mortis is part of the script. No son, no true bad guy. You go to what JJ did, and remember the marketing going up all the way? That one teaser trailer where you hear what kind of sounds like Palpatine and doesn't, saying, I have been every voice you've ever heard inside of your head. It goes from Palpatine and somebody, to Snoke, to Vader. Okay, Vader and Palpatine are two different people. It wasn't any of them talking. It was somebody else. There's a whole movie that was made, which I'd much rather see than this shit, than what we got. And I know if George is part of this, then what we really needed to make everything happy, to fix what was broken, is in it. Because George helped do this, okay? And yet, people are clinging desperately to Colin Trevorrow. And again, I read the script. I have it. Really? This is good? Again, the guys who do The Mandalorian actually know what the hell they're talking about. The person who wrote this doesn't know anything about Star Wars. I'm sorry. You can be a big fan and walk away and not know a goddamn thing. So, all right, the other thing I want to talk about. Daniel Josephine Older was back on Twitter bitching. Somebody complained to him that the character, one of the characters in his book, Last Shot, was over masculine, made masculine, and you're supposed to be sort of gender fluid or some shit. And I'm just like, and he got excoriated. The thing that bothers me is the same people who are you know, running around screaming how great Trevorrow's bullshit script is, are hating on Older for doing the same thing, basically. I mean, what do you want? What do you guys want? It's either has to be fixed, everything has to be fixed, or Star Wars is dead. And as far as Older is concerned, and Project Luminous, when I look at that and I see what they're doing, basically, people at Lucasfilm who aren't paying attention to the financials, who aren't watching the stock market, I mean, I'm sure if you told them Disney's $59 billion in debt, they'd be like, you know, they wouldn't know. They wouldn't know what to do with it. They don't understand what that means. They're rearranging the decks on the Titanic, okay? Because Bob Iger, right now, is working on restructuring all of Disney. Okay, that means if there's restructuring going on, that means there's going to be staff being laid off, companies changing. And hopefully if they do something with Lucasfilm, and I know they are, because Chapek wants Kennedy out. He wants her out. And he's going to make an announcement about somebody soon, within a few months. And it's basically going to blow everybody's mind. All right? And no, it's not George Lucas. Okay? It's not. It's something else, but it's something that's needed to be announced for a very long effing time. Okay? But Chapek wants her out. The only way they can really get her out, where she's stuck and she can't do anything about it, is restructuring. I predict this. I predict Lucasfilm is going to go under the helm of 20th Century Studios, Fox. We'll just call it Fox. And there's going to be a president of Lucasfilm, but it's not going to be Kennedy. It's going to be a completely different thing. What I hope is that they actually learn their lesson and let Star Wars be Star Wars. All right, enough of the virtue signaling, enough of the lazy ass bullshit, enough of being afraid to do what's creatively right for once, and just fucking do it. You know, get Star Wars detoxed from Disney completely. It can be owned by Disney, but stop making it Disney, because it's nothing about what Disney stands for anymore. And I'm thinking, hopefully, they learn their lessons. You know, no more Forces of Destiny, no more SJW, virtue signaling, no more trashing legacy characters, Han, Luke, and Leia, no more of that shit. You know, I saw somebody on Twitter post that they took their son to Galaxy's Edge, and the kid was walking around asking out loud, where's Luke Skywalker? One of the things I heard is that George Lucas demanded that the OT be included in Galaxy's Edge. What a great idea. Star Wars in Star Wars land. You know, it just, you know, what they've done is so illogical, and it goes to the heart of the problem. You want, and I'm going to leave you with this, you want to make things that are relevant for kids today. Then don't destroy what was there before. Add to it. Carry it over. Run with it. Okay? But you don't destroy it. And it's the exact opposite of what Lucasfilm has done to Star Wars. And they don't care. Meanwhile, Pablo Hidalgo, his wife, Chrissy, and the rest of these people are rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. They don't know what's coming. They're not paying attention. And they don't realize their left-wing bullshit is why they're not. Things are going to change. Okay? It might not be in a couple months. It might be next October when the last quarter is done and all the rest of that stuff. But it is going to happen, and it's not going to be pretty. Okay? And one more thing about Steven Spielberg. I'm almost convinced you have Iger going to run the board, Chapek stepping in as CEO of Disney. Spielberg goes to hands-on producing Indy 5. You got Mangold being offered the director's chair for Indy 5. Okay, Harrison Ford, of course, is still in it, because if he's not in it, I ain't going. Okay, I ain't going. So you got all that, and that's fine, that's cool, that's, but why? Who's not going to be there? Who's not going to be producing? Okay, because the Variety article said hands-on production. And why did Spielberg go in there? Well, first, maybe someone is gone, or maybe someone refuses to be part of it at this point. Can't imagine who that could be. 2, his daughter has lost her mind. His adopted kid has lost her mind, and, you know, he's got family problems. All kinds of things going on behind the scenes. And no one at Lucasfilm is paying any attention at all. They're rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic and have no idea what's about to happen to them. And it's not good, okay? Because $59 billion in debt, $750 million negative in liquid assets. Your own fucking company is $2 billion in debt and will never recover that. And you're talking up Project Luminous like it's the greatest thing since canned beer? Go ahead. Go ahead. All right? Go ahead and you know, pretend like there's nothing going on. You're like a bunch of cancer patients that are terminal. You're like a bunch of Jewish people in Warsaw the night before the Nazis invaded. Okay, or in one of the villages in western Poland as the German army's marching up. You guys have absolutely no effing clue what's about to hit you. Okay? And I'm not saying this because I don't like most of you, but I'm saying this because the financials are there in your face. This is reality. You know, you guys aren't creative. You don't have any business sense at all. You shit on everything George Lucas created, and George Lucas created Star Wars. He was a man of vision. He made all that money because he knew what he wanted to do, and he was a good businessman. All right? And here you guys are, as your ship. This is Steph signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.